thing.
after all the excuses, it's like, but you said you wanted to fuck her. Oh, well, that was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Somebody
think
else was using my
weird.
phone.
I think one of the
Mhm.
catchers actually had something like that happen where there was a brother duo that was supposed to meet up with her, and they were doing
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, they were sharing it, the phones.
Yeah.
But I think something that doesn't get pointed out a lot is, we have to normalize protecting children, not normalize harming our children. And,
There we go.
people like these two, like, they can't keep their channels up. Like, they have to go by certain terms of service for YouTube. And they do one thing wrong, they're going to get hit. They can't be on YouTube. They always want to strike their channels down. But just the other day, we found a predator. He's been in trouble for multiple years for this sodomy of a 12-year-old girl. Yeah, 4 or 5 times, I think it was. And he's allowed on YouTube and monetized and making money off of it and helping other
and
child molesters. Yeah,
a platform.
Yeah, they give him a platform.
And that was one thing that I think I wanted to ask, because I know that sometimes these people, because I don't think they're human beings, that when they get to this level, I don't even call them men, because there's no such a thing as a man should harm a kid. But these people, when they're normalize this behavior, and I seen these in YouTube and I seen all the platforms, they make it normal for them to come and get money over and continue their nastiness through it. How is that we can help, or how we can do to expose these cats? Because now I know that sometimes the Megan law allows you to do that around your area, but now sometimes they start blocking their names or the address, so they won't go looking for it. Because I did a research just recently around the area, because I'll bring my nieces to spend time with me, like when I get them. And I don't really want them around the area where they can run into somebody.
Right.
That's why when they come see me, I don't let them out of my sight.
Right.
Well, if
we
you
do
have
that a lot.
like if you're doing the like if you're doing a sex offender registry check, and like those are like your list of sex offenders near you, you are allowed to raise awareness to those people being there. That's all public information.
Absolutely.
And you are allowed to go knock on the neighbors' doors and say, do you know this guy lives over here? Just want to make sure you know, because he's there.
And this starts at a government level too. You got to think the government tries. Go ahead, Bobby. Sorry.
I was gonna say, Nonya, not to cut you off, it would be really the 88 at first to start off with, because most of the cops want to arrest them, but it's the 88 that will not take the case. So it's voting. When it comes down, right, start from the lowest and keep on working up.
The people you're putting in office, your prosecutors, your district attorneys, your judges, even all the way up.
Yeah.
You need to look at what they support and what they don't support.
That's exactly where I was getting at. And there's a channel, Kids Are Not Toys, I think is what it is. They post a lot of stuff, and they do a lot of lives and videos about educating you on, like what the ladies just said, you're voting these people in office. So pay attention to who you're voting for. Make sure you know what they're about.
Yeah, because it just, I think that's what I was getting at, because like I said, yeah, it can start, it should start with parents checking their phones. That's something that I always I tell my brothers that have daughters and my nieces, like when they come over here, I always have, like, when they like kind of have your laptop, kind of get your tablet, uncle, I'm like, yes, but I'll block certain access to the internet, because she's only allowed to go to whatever little YouTube videos for kids that they watch. I do what you do sometimes, Nonya. I just do drive-bys and I might just see her quiet in a little corner, and I just go and just snatch up the phone and be like, what you watching? Because sometimes they try to hide the fact that they seen something that piqued their interest. And
they don't want to be in trouble.
Yeah, they don't want to be in trouble. And sometimes, a video commercial might take you to a website that they might just be curious to tap it on.
Click on.
Sometimes don't see it. They click on that, and they take it to sometimes where they're making it. The advertising is making okay for a man to hit a woman, or for things like that to be played out, which is I just don't see how that can be okay. Just like these platforms, they have these guys in here, they are monetized, they have sex offender cases, or they're been through and they got caught and they know they're doing this, but they're allowed to make money out of other people's pain. I think that's just pure disgusting.
Yeah.
I just don't agree how people can allow to even go there and chat and have a line of subscribers that can they believe on what they're saying. But also my other question
there
is
was
this.
there was this other YouTube channel that New York Creep Spotlight caught. He caught him. This guy had a YouTube channel that did drugs 24/7. We reported that page every 5 minutes. YouTube kept that on there. But here
It was a
the
dude
catchers
they
get
called him
taken out.
crackhead something, wasn't it?
Yeah, crackhead Ed. Yep. Yeah.
And another thing too is, the school systems and the government level type stuff, they're also trying to normalize pedophilia. So you got maps, you got all this other stuff. They want, they're not looking out for our children. So we have to look out for them. And I just think that everybody should be aware to pay attention to what's going on in these schools too. Ask your kids, talk to your kids.
Pay attention
Schools,
to what they're
it's
watching.
point blank period. Everywhere. You don't trust nobody. Women, stop
Everybody's
letting
suspect.
any man around your child. Women, stop letting any man around your child. You don't trust nobody.
Hey, Swag,
Like
I'll tell
nobody. I don't family member. I don't.
Yeah,
It could be your best friend for 20 years.
Yeah.
Do not let them get close to your babies. That's it.
That's another thing. Is just like I said, the education start from home, and also we have to do our part. Like I'm a really protective uncle. Like I mean, I'm one of those guys there. I if I see something, because I just do sometimes go visit my nieces or to the house, I go there by surprise, and then if I see somebody that looks older than that, then I ask the question. Like there was example, I went to visit my brother's kid, and then the brother of my brother's ex wife was staying there. So her husband's brother was staying there, and my niece was there, and I saw my niece coming out with a tent up on, and I told her mother instantly, "You allow this to happen, to transpire while there's another man here."
Oh yeah, nah.
Her husband took the initiative and was like, "Go and change. My brother's staying here in the living room. Don't come out like that."
Right.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to my nephew, and I was like, "This happens a lot, like where she comes out like this." She's like, "Yeah, we can tell her nothing because she thinks she's old already." So I went into her room and I told her, "Look, I don't care what they make it okay for them to visit him. That's okay. That's his family. You are not allowed to come out here and show a skin just because you think this is okay. This is not normal. I don't know where you guys, what you guys are told that this is normal. This is not normal, and it's not okay for the mothers actually. Something like you say about it has to do with the mother as well. Sometimes the mothers are too trustworthy. They allow other people to come into their life, or allow their men that they're living with to discipline their child, to take him somewhere by themselves. And we don't know what's transpiring. We don't know if your kid changed attitude. All of a sudden, she was a smart little girl, outgoing, laughing, and all of a sudden, somebody's taking her to school, and then her light just went out. There has to be something wrong there.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is, though, that requires people actually stopping, slowing down. I know life's busy, but and paying attention to your children. It's easy to throw them a phone or something to babysit them, but they need attention too. And pay attention to your children, have conversations with them, be open with them. And yeah, I went through the same thing. And it's kind of it's a catch-22 really, because people will say, well, I should be able to wear whatever I want and not have to worry about that. But the fact of the matter is, it's 2024 and that's not the way it is anymore. Like,
sorry, I have a 19-year-old and he just cursed the other day. And he's like, I'm a grown 19-year-old man. I said, until you're out of my house, then you're a grown man. Not it ain't happening. It's you got to put your foot down. It's all about you. You're the parent, not them.
We are not their friends.
Back in the day, like we used to tell our kids, like I remember when I was a kid, my mom or my brothers and sisters would say, you know, you got to watch out for that guy in that white van with the candy and the puppy. You know, he's trying to kidnap you. Well, we don't have that white van out here driving around now with the puppies and the candy and stuff anymore. These people are online. They're on your kids' phones. They're in your kids' games, and they're just waiting for them to just one time slip up and mom and dad not be paying attention.
Yep, and this is people like this could be law enforcement. This could be EMTs.
Man,
This
we've
could be
caught 5
bankers.
teachers.
This could be
5
teachers.
educators
Yeah, like
in the last year.
No one is, you know. I've seen church people, like pastors, like how many church things have gone on, you know what I mean? Like, and then people cover it up. Like, it's just, it's crazy. And I think all of us being victims ourselves, you know, we just really want to save kids, all of us. And I think that goes along with like most of the people that we hang out with. But we also got to remember too, another thing that doesn't get spoke on much is protecting our decoys and catchers. It is 2024 and the internet is at our fingertips. You think one of these people that are pissed off, sorry, excuse my language, that have been caught by someone like Sammy Joe wouldn't come back and, you know, try to find out who she is or whatever. You have to be very careful. We have to protect them as well and their identity too. And you got to think these people will come into YouTube world and be in this stuff as well.
And that's what I was going to ask. My next question, have you guys that had there with catching, have you guys have run into across anybody that you guys have put in jail because you guys caught them, and then how they try to look or manipulate information, try not to find out where you guys live? Have there been an encounter where you have seen them close to your house and a light bubble went on? Like, I remember catching this dude 10 years ago, 5 years ago, months ago, and now all of a sudden he's close to my house. It just is a coincidence or something. How can we protect the identities, and how can we protect these people that are doing this work? Because I think we got to safeguard these people as well, because whether we like to admit or not, they're putting their life on the line as well. Because like you say, somebody might be pissed off and they went and did time, and then probably while they were doing the time, all they thought about was like the person that put me here, and they come out with the mind made up that they're gonna do something about it to make an example out of these people that are ruining their chances, the little fairy tale, the little purple fairy tales they have. How can we do? What can we do to safeguard these people that are out there fighting these battles?
I think I've seen myself with my own eyes. I've seen messages to several catchers here recently, even from a person that was pretty mad that they were caught, or at least they're saying they were, and they're trying to find them. Or, but I don't know if you guys have had that situation, Sammy.
I haven't had any type of encounters with anyone that I've caught, like after the fact yet. We'll knock on wood for that.
On wood. That's what I was just doing. Yeah.
But it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely a thought in your brain when you catch somebody 45 minutes away from your house, and they're going to go to court and they're going to have that paperwork and it's going to have all my information in there. So is it scary? Yeah, absolutely. But I'll do it over and over again.
And do the police regarding your guys' information, or do they
no.
They just blast
no. They don't care.
No.
They don't care.
Another thing is too that not only is it protection as far as that goes, it's also you got to think about they have all that information at their fingertips, and all they have to do is Google them or whatever, find them, what they do, whatever it is, get that information, and nobody would know any different. And these people on these platforms that are okay with this, like YouTube, they keep those channels up and not take them down, and they take down the catchers over and over and over. And what's it going to be? They're going to end up, they've already been suing catchers, was my main point. Catchers have been sued. Catchers have been put in jail several times, right, guys? Am I wrong here? They've protected the predators, not the
they
catchers.
always want to give us the the lecture of, do you realize what you're doing is dangerous?
You're not a cop.
You're not a police officer, and why are you doing this? Why don't you go home and stop trying to do our job? And we get all of that. And after a certain point, when you get approached with dealing with law enforcement again, you kind of just tell them, I just don't want to hear the lecture. Like, this is not my first time. I'm well aware of what I'm doing. Can we just get the report filled out so I can go home? Because that's about as much as they care. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. And like
as
I
far
said,
as protecting us.
Yeah. And I think probably too, Swag, why there's not a lot in California, it's probably the laws in California are so tight.
I was thinking that too. They have
California
a
is
lot.
very tight.
And California is doing everything they can.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing everything they can to protect them right now.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I'm going with this, because California has and I will tell you guys, I have one of my homeboys. He's doing his life, but he caught his younger daughter who's messaging a 30-year-old. His daughter's 15, and dude was sending her pictures. He actually caught her phone and find out and pressed her to get actually where they were meeting up, because she had already seen him. And on her mind, she was in love with this dude. On her mind, her brainwash.
He groomed her.
He had just groomed her to the point where she even threatened to call the police on him, because she said that she was being abused by her dad because her dad snatched up her phone.
Oh, wow.
So he called me up and he's like, bro, I'm at the verge of just going to this fool's house and just going there. And he's an older home, like we do our family thing. We're not part of the life system, but there's sometimes when it comes to kids, there's a little small line you can switch back to who your old self, what you used to be. Because like if something happened to my nieces, I think I can go there from in a heartbeat. And I went over there and just had a conversation with him, and then I talked to his daughter because I know her since she was a baby, and I was like, he's not against you. He's not trying to stop you from growing up. He's trying to teach you, saying that this individual is just putting you against your family because of his sick mind. He doesn't love you. He's just gonna use you, abuse you, and then when he feels like he got what he needed, he's gonna discard you. You're gonna be here crying, trying to kill yourself, trying to do all of this stuff, going through all this emotion, and then you put in your dad in a position where he can't even get locked up by acting on his anger. And sometimes and that's what I'm saying, like sometimes talking to our kids sometimes might not be enough. Taking the phone away and taking away their stuff.
At 15 is a harder, a hell of a harder age to convince that they are being groomed and not going down the right path.
Well, and that's 15 is confusing because we're constantly telling them, you're 15. It's time for you to start acting like you're growing up. You're growing up. You're 15.
Stop growing up. Yeah.
But then we turn and look at them in the same breath and say, but you're still a child.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
spot on.
we kind of have to kind of just take heed that, we remember being those ages and it, it's confusing.
That's perfectly put, Sammy.
Yeah, it's a confusing time in their life, and you just kind of have to stay honest with them and let them know that these people are out to harm you more than help you.
That's what I've done, and we're at that age. Mine's 15, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want more proof, you can go right to my YouTube channel, and I confronted my abuser on there. If you can't see him, but you can hear the audio, and you can hear what that has done to a woman that's almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to get. I understand, because like I said, here and the sad part is in the California area, laws actually do protect these individuals.
Yes.
And sometimes we do get a little pass when we tend to get in prison. The cops do tell you, hey, look, you got a predator coming through. That transpires. Sometimes people judge us because we do what we have to do. But you also got to remember, I have nieces and nephews. I have people that I have raised that I've seen, and then I wouldn't feel comfortable having an individual sleeping in my cell, looking at my pictures of my family members, and his dirty mind going through places where I think that's not right, and that's the thing. And this is where I go with, like, this is the message also that I push to my nieces, at least social media. And like you say, 15, 16-year-old, that's when the confusing age. These little girls now, especially with this social media, they're posting all these pictures with all these new the new things that come out, like with the little closed shoulder, with the little skirts more shorter, eyelashes painted, all this new fashion system that's coming in, that older women's and the industry is making it okay for these young girls to get the lip blowing up. And this is why I don't want to get
more grooming.
They're grooming them to present themselves in a provocative way. And sometimes we cannot blame the girls and say, oh, that's their fault because they dress this manner, so the men are gonna say what they're gonna say. That might somehow fall through, but their parents had to put a stop to it. But also, we having these people in the industry making it okay for little girls to get lashes. The lips, like there's somebody just punched them. I don't find that, to me especially, I don't find that attractive. I never have found a woman attractive when stuff like that. But what can we do to make our young generation understand that they're being groomed to basically perpetrate an image that Hollywood's making it okay to see, and that's not what the reality is.
I mean, if they're old enough to be online and having conversations with adults, then they're old enough to be talked to and had a conversation with like an adult, and let them see what the consequences could be from this kind of stuff. Be real with them. You know, if that's what it takes to slow them down and get them to see that this is what can happen. Be real with them.
Shoot.
Yeah, I agree.
For instance, I'll bring up when my kids were younger, and I kept on telling them, hey, one of these days you keep running off, you're going to get kidnapped. Well, sorry, not sorry, internet, but I set up for my kid to get snatched up. He learned real quick not to be it was one of my friends, but it was he kept getting told. He kept getting told, stop running off from mom. Somebody's bad gonna grab you. Well, I had one of my friends grab him. He screamed. It never happened again.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that did used to happen a lot when we were kids too, Bobby. I remember, but nowadays you can't do that. They usually actually, like in some states, you can call your police station, have them come get your kid, take them to the jail, and show them what it's like make them think that they're going to jail, and it scares them straight. But now legally, like they can't do anything. Everybody's became so sensitive.
Well, I did that by myself.
Well,
but
yeah, exactly. But we used to be able to get cops to do it.
I mean,
I think there's enough out there. Like, I mean, you're talking about most of the things that we're talking about happen online or on your phone or whatever platforms, social medias. I think the best thing you can do is just to make sure you keep an eye on all of that stuff. And I mean, honestly, my kids didn't have them cell phones when they were teenagers. So I didn't, you know, they were damn near grown before they got a phone put in their hands. And so I feel like as parents, I think that's probably the best option. No, you're not going to have a child that's constantly quiet and not bothering you, but they're also not going to be talking to a grown man that's grooming them for sex.
But here,
you were talking about with clothes until they're old enough to buy their own clothes. I buy their clothes. So, I mean, God didn't give me girls because maybe he knew I'd be in jail by now because of the way these girls dress. But
it's difficult with girls too. So.
It is very hard.
That's what I was going with. Like she was saying, sometimes we can sit down and have a great conversation with them, and it's true sometimes. But here's the thing now, and I seen this and I have heard that become a common thing. a few times when I would hear people like their parents getting on their kids about some things. Now their kids I got this new way to say, well, if you touch me, I'm call the police on you. And there
Yeah.
have been cases where kids have done that on their parents because they discipline them. I grew up in a Salvadorian household. I'm from El Salvador. They grew up. Discipline was very strict. My mama would not let something go. You answer to her back when she's telling you something, or you getting your ass whooped. A lot of these kids didn't grow up with wanting and having things and needing to have things. A lot of these kids there in this country are fortunate enough to have a lot of at their fingertips, to have more fortunate enough to have a roof over their head, to have food in their stomach. Then they don't have to go through the struggles that at least some of us went through. So they feel comfortable enough to say, well, if you touch me, I call the police. Or if you call my uncle, I'm going to call the police on my uncle for coming. Because like sometimes they would tell him, I'm gonna call your uncle, have your uncle come talk to you, and then their answer that I would hear sometimes back would be like, well, he can come, I call the police on him anyways. He's in parole, he's in probation, he can do nothing to me. There's kids have grab onto this new fashion that saying things, and then the police have this defense mechanism that they help him, but they're not realizing that they're hurting them more than they're helping them though.
Yep.
For allowing them to get away with it.
Yep.
Well, and I think too, if my kid was threatening me with the police and that kind of stuff, you know, at some point, I would, turn that around on them and record them saying that shit. Record them saying that that's their, you know, if you try to discipline me, Mom, this is what I'll do. You need to make sure that you document everything, just like if you were dealing with a stranger.
And then also one thing I would like to bring up that also I think it, on this platform it doesn't get mentioned, and I would like to get you guys' opinions. We talk about these predators being men's. Do you guys catch a lot of women as well? Do that like does women have those same type of predator?
Oh, there's women predators out there too. They just, I think they move differently than a man predator. They are not, most women, they find other avenues of getting their victims than dating apps and whatnot. I think they go closer to home. I feel like
they act a little bit more sneaky than men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Men are blatant.
So when you say that they go a little more closer to home, do you feel like that some of the women, sometimes when they do those type of acts, they go closer to home to like their nephews and
babysitters,
babysitters, or or like daycare type situations, things like that. I think
school,
There's look at the one reason.
Sorry, there is some, and you do have to talk to them longer as a decoy to get their trust more than a man, because men tend to be quicker.
But with the women are, it's like, where you'll have 8 men, you'll only have 1 woman. It's just that there's such a bigger difference in between.
And you got to think a lot of men and women don't want to come up and say that they got maybe abused by a woman, you know, because there's that persona that, hey, you know, like how a lot of guys are like, oh, you know, I wish that happened to me when I was in school. No, you don't.
Yeah, you're that stud because you got that older woman type
thing. Look at that recent case where the lady was how old, and she was acting like she was like 14 or 12, and her parents were helping her, and she was an adult. Like it's just, it's sad. It's very sad. So it's not just men, it is women too.
Have you guys also I wanted to ask, do you guys catch a lot of, whether it's men or women, there are in like schools, doctors, like there are in this type of societies that we don't really think that there can be predators there?
Absolutely.
We've caught
in the last year we've caught 5. If they were a teacher or some type of sports athletic person or a bus monitor. Yes.
I just gotta run, guys. I'm sorry, Bobby, to cut you off real quick. I've
Off
gotta
the top
run.
of my head, I think the only person we haven't caught was a doctor, maybe.